Hey there, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today we have a Pioneer PL-15R. Just dropped off for service. Gentleman just purchased this turntable. He usually brings all his turntables to me. He's got the collecting bug, and they usually come to me first for service and just a good once over, make sure they're working well and get him on his way. I believe this one's got an issue with the cartridge. Yeah, the cartridge, well, there's no needle, and it's a little bit crooked. So it's got an XL ES70. Pioneer used a lot of these turntables, a lot of these cartridges back in the day, and there's no stylus. They gave him, looks like, a cheap Chinese cartridge, so we'll probably either order a new stylus for him or see if he gets into, if he wants to get into a new cartridge altogether. Something like a Audio-Technica AT VM95E would be a nice match for this table. Alrighty, let's get this off first. And let's just see, he did not test it at all. He bought it because he liked the looks, and that can be dangerous. Let's plug it in and see what it does before we actually start our service here. I hear motor spinning. Or do I? Oh, look at this. That is funny. Look at this motor. Oh, it stopped. No, it's going. It's going, it's going. Where's the belt? Is there a belt? Hey, there is a belt. Got a belt here. Looks relatively new as well. Platter's clean. I mean, you can use a little bit of cleaning. There's might have, oh yeah, it's definitely had a belt dye on here. There's lots of belt residue. And you can see some of the belt goo. Somebody's been in here. Somebody's cleaned this. There's belt goo all over here. But can you see this motor here? It's a humming. Oh, there we go. That's noisy. Listen to that. But it definitely, I think to stop this, we have to spin the arm around once. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if it starts up this time. Oh, she does not want to start. Okay, just out of curiosity, this has got one of those lubrication holes. Let's put a couple drops of oil and see what happens here. I mean, it might not sink in all the way right away, but let's see if that does anything. This motor needs to be taken apart. We're gonna definitely do that together. I'm just seeing if I don't think it's going down. Oh dear. Not pretty. Okay, well, no use praying it for it to start. Let's shut it off and let's do this correctly. So again, this looks like a brand new belt. Oh, maybe not. It's got a little bit of goo on here on the one side, so we'll probably flip it around like this. It's got good elasticity, but it's got a little bit of I'm not sure what that is. It's round. There's no indentations from the motor. We'll have to give that a nice cleaning. All right, to remove the plinth from the case on these Pioneer PL-15s, I believe it works with the PL-12 as well. You need to first loosen these two screws here. They're the locks that keep the platter or the plinth from coming out of the case. Just slide them forward like that and then lock the screw down again. So forward, loosen it, there we go, forward, and lock it down like that. And now it should be able to come out. I think the we're going to have to undo the back end here too for a couple screws. Yes. Yeah, the wires definitely have to come out. Okay, the plinth just dropped out of the case, so that's a good sign. Yep, just two screws here. And I can see that the bottom of the case is grounded as well. So that's an interesting design. I'll show you that. Okay, so this will lift right out once you move these two screws inwards, and your wires will come through. But if you can see right here, the bottom of the case has like, I guess like an aluminum foil here. It's kind of like on a computer they have a shield, and the case is shielded. So what you have to do is you just have to remove the ground here like that, and then you can pull that through, or maybe pull it through. And now your wires should come out and we'll have the table. It's almost kind of like, I think they used to call them RF shields in old computers. If you work on like a Commodore 64 or something like that, there's this big shield over the motherboard, and most guys when they retrofit the Commodore 64 or they're working on them, they take it, they chuck it. This will probably act as a very nice ground against, especially if it's sitting on top of an amplifier or something, and it should block EMI and RFI. So that's a nice design, and it's solid wood, which is beautiful, eh? Look at that. Look at this. They don't make stuff like this anymore. These are all, you know, machine cut pieces for mounting the turntable in. It was probably, you know, handmade at the time. All glued. Corners are all hand glued. It's just you don't see stuff like this anymore. That's why people wanna save these things and keep them, because they're amazing quality. All right, so here's our mechanism. Let's get the wires up here. Pretty simple and straightforward turntable. We have an AC motor on this one. Okay, we're going to be taking this apart and hopefully it's going to spin. All metal construction. Okay, so the base is all nice wood, and this is 100% metal. Metal plinth. Look at this, all stamped steel. All the arms are metal. The only thing that I see that's plastic is the auto return gear mechanism. Beautiful construction. Another thing to note on these tables is the motor suspension. These are rubber. They can start to crack and degrade after many years. So that's one thing that you'll notice on these. These are in really good shape. This table is actually in very nice shape. We'll probably service the arm switch here. So we'll get that micro switch. We'll change out the main bearing oil, and we'll service the motor on this. I don't know if you remember on my Pioneer ES2000, we replaced this little sponge material here. It's part of the auto return system. I'm thinking we'd probably do that one, this one as well, because as you can see, it's already getting very, very brittle. So we'll probably change that out too, and we'll put on, you know, something like this, which is pretty similar. Okay, so we'll cut a piece and glue that on. So let's do the motor first here. Okay. So 1, 2, 3 large bolts. Can you guys see that? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in for you a little bit here. I'll get a better view of that motor. And first thing you want to do is remove the large bolts. It's going to be similar to that ES2000, guaranteed. There we go. I dropped, what, 2 or 3 drops of oil. Not one of them made it down. So this tube must be blocked. Probably clear that out too. Okay, we have 1, 2 nuts and 2 large screws here. Remove those. Maybe I don't need to hold the nut on this one. I'll get lucky. Nope, there's another nut underneath here. So same as the ES2000, you're gonna have to remove the outer ones first. I do have my nut driver set today, so let's go with a 7mm. Yeah, that'll work. So nut and washer. Nut and washer. And then we can remove this mounting plate. And we'll just set it aside because I'll guarantee I'll probably end up putting it in backwards. So we'll just put it like that. And I'm going to put a mark here. That way I know this is the right side. There. I'm not going to look like an ass on this one. Okay, just loosen these. That one's just a little too deep. My nut driver isn't long enough. Maybe it's, what's the equivalent of 7mm? 5/16? No. 11/32? No. This is what happens when you grow up in the metric system. There we go. What's that? 9/32? Will that work? Yeah, it worked. Perfect. So 7mm or 9/32. Alright, so you're going to remove your 2 screws. We're going to lubricate top and bottom bearings. Long screw. Okay, so now our top and bottom bearings are released. Remove the lower bearing cap. Ooh, that's sticky. That's why she's not spinning, boys. Oh my goodness. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Oh, this is different. I honestly don't know what's going on here. I don't want to force it. But it's definitely, the bearing is definitely stuck in there. Okay. we're going to gently apply a little bit of pressure here and see if we can pop it off. I can see the brass bushing that sits inside the bearing. It's wanting to come out. I know you guys can't see that, but there we go. Got it. Oh dear. Look at this. What a mess. We've got a bit of a corrosion ring here of, actually it's not corrosion, I shouldn't say that, it's old grease. Okay. And definitely the bearing bushing there is very gummed up to the point that it was stuck on the lower part of the motor there. I did not want to come out. We're going to have to clean this out as best as we can with alcohol. Clean the bottom of the motor here. Let's pull out the rotor altogether. Okay. Top bearing's okay. It spins okay. We're still going to lubricate it, but it's not bad. I'm just going to see if this comes off here. Oh yeah, there's definitely a ridge. Look at this thing. See that ridge? I don't know if that's focusing or not, but there's a ridge. That's cleaning off pretty good just with the paper towel and my fingernail. Not bad. But that's not going to do it alone. We definitely need some kind of a solvent. We're going to use alcohol, of course. Much better. There we go. Nice and shiny again. So we'll just set that aside for now. We're going to work on this lower bearing cap. Let's see what we got in there. Very gooey. Yuck. Wow, that's in really bad shape. Goodness. Okay. Nothing we can't fix. Gonna hit it with alcohol. That's better. There we go. It's nice and clean now. This is going to be a fast service. Something else that's really disgusting here, I think I'm going to clean it now before I actually put it back on the table, is the actual motor pulley. It's got tons of belt residue on there. So we're going to hit it with some alcohol in my paper towel right now, and then we'll put it back on and we'll do the, we'll turn the motor on and then we'll hit it with a Q-tip soaked in alcohol. Wash here. Look at this. That's all belt. Goodness. The guy who sold us said it was working. I don't know how the hell it was working. They put a belt on it, but the motor was a disaster. Oh, look at this. Even the pulley came right off. Well, we have to reset that now. It's not a big deal. You can actually get more access to the top bearing now, just to have a look at it, and maybe we'll run our Q-tip through that too. We usually don't have to on the top one because of gravity, but what the heck, right? We're here. We have the ability to do it. We're going to do it. So that's why you got to keep the top bearing lubricated. Unlike the bottom bearing, the motor constantly sits in the bottom bearing, right? So it sits in there in Nevada oil, so it's always lubricated at the bottom. Well, for a reasonable amount of time, it's lubricated there. This one was seized. But the top bearing, it goes right through. And this is the oil slot for it. And as you can see, there's a little bit of like cloth material there, okay? And it goes around this bearing here, and it keeps it wet with oil. So that's why you got to keep it lubricated. So we're going to soak the hell out of that. We're also going to put some oil on this and then put our top bearing back on. Alright, so we're going to go with 3-in-1. We're just going to put it there. Like I said, we will, at the bottom, we will hit this, we'll put oil in the in that cloth material there in the hole. We'll just spin some in here right now, just to get her going. And then we'll put our pulley back on at some point here. I'm not sure the height yet. I'm going to have to set that now. But let's just throw it back on. It'll be safe there. Okay. My mark there, so I know which way I'm going. Okay, so that's the top. The bottom, I think I'm going to stick with the 3-in-1. We'll just soak the hell out of it here. If you hear a whining noise, that's my dog being a pain in the ass. There we go. Pop your lower bearing cap on and lock it in place. Now, it's not locked down, but the motor is spinning, I hope. Actually, that pulley is too low. Way too low. Let's just lift it up there. We'll set it when we put the belt back on. Let's see now. Yeah, you gotta get the screws in. Let's put there we go. Nice. Okay. Let's get our screws back in. First thing we want to do is put our really long ones in. Get this nut down tight before we put our mounting bracket back on. Sometimes you can get this tight. Nah, you know what? Let's put the nut driver on it and use a screwdriver. Get it nice and tight. There we go. Very nice. Very spinny. We're going to put more oil in this cloth material once we get the table back sitting straight up, okay? And so this was the right side. Yep. And so this pointed this way. Oh, here's the oil. You know what? If this is the... There's that oil I dropped in there. Didn't go anywhere. Here's the oil hole. Here's the oil. Yeah, we're good. All right, so that goes back on. See, we're not. I put, this is backwards. Son of a bitch. This oil, there's always something. This oil thing needs to be on this side. In order for the bracket to sit properly and the oil hole to be lined up. So another thing you need to remember. Well, nobody said I was perfect. I swear, every time I work on a motor, it doesn't matter which one it is, I always put this on backwards. It's absolutely hilarious. I'm just going to take this off again here. I'm like 0 for 50. There we go. Now, that should work. So let's just see here. So that's right. This is right. And there's your oil slot, oil word. And then it goes back on like that. Hey! It's like we're professionals. It really is. You don't need a screwdriver. You can just hold that with your thumb and then apply pressure with the nut driver. Aha. There we go. 1, 2, 1, and 2. Okay, so we're going to tighten this back up. Just kind of put your pulley back on, which is still very dirty. It's better, but where's my other screwdriver? Okay, and now you can put this motor back. One, two, three. Here's your motor service, all done. Okay, our bearing is held in by one Phillips screw here. Okay, just right there, right on the main bearing well. So grab that screw, get it out of there. Don't lose it. And you should be able to pull your bearing out now. Here it is. Ooh, greasy. Okay, this is that grease I talked about. There is a ball bearing in there. It's at the bottom. So this grease is it's factory grease. It's actually it's not bad. It looks messy as hell, and it is messy as hell. But it's actually a good quality grease because this one was still spinning pretty nice. Just grab a paper towel soaked in alcohol and give that a good cleaning. There's quite a bit of it on here. My guess is it was a synthetic grease right back from the factory. But we're going to be replacing it with an oil. And we'll use a little bit of a viscous oil. Probably going to stick with a 30 weight on this one. Time for a new paper towel. There, that's nice and clean now. Set it aside to dry. We're going to work on the pit. Sometimes you can get the bearing out with a magnetic screwdriver. Don't scratch the sides. No. Okay, well, it's down there. And it doesn't look greasy, so we're going to clean with it in there. Get all this old grease out. This one's definitely a twofer. Looking clean. One more shot of alcohol, especially at the top here. And that ball bearing. It's a very small ball bearing. Okay, good. It's good and clean. All right. Clean. Very good. Okay, going with 30 weight again. It's my preferred bearing oil of choice for Japanese tables of this vintage, especially ones that had a grease. You could even put in the gear oil that Riga uses, but this is going to work great. Let's go with 4 solid drops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Lubricate the actual spindle a little bit here. Okay. And let her drop. Very nice. Lovely. Really, really nice. Excellent. Okay. Get our screw back on there. It's a very tiny screw, as you can see. It's not... longer screwdriver here. And it's got a little washer too. Sorry if you can't see this. Sorry guys, I gotta move this because I cannot see with the table turned up. I gotta do it sideways. There we go. AC's turning on. It's pretty hot here today. There we go. Serviced bearing. Motor suspension's good. That pulley needs adjustment. We're going to do that. Okay, so let's see now if our motor actually spins when we plug it in, shall we? Okay, moment of truth. Look at that. She's a spinning. Tons of torque. Oh, fantastic. Yes, there's a piece of paper towel stuck there, but we'll get rid of that. So, I'm going to clean that spindle, the pulley, while it's spinning with alcohol. Get it good and clean. Get this paper towel out of here too. Look at this, still spewing, eh? There's nothing worse than when a belt dies in the turntable when it turns to goo. It's not only filthy, but it gums up all the mechanisms that it touches, especially the motor pulley, right? So that's why it needs to be spotless. Look at this. And I cleaned that. I pre-cleaned it with my paper towel and alcohol. Motor's got a ton of torque. Can't kill them. You can try. And this one definitely almost got there. But as you can see, it's completely back up. Look at this. I'm sorry if this is boring the hell out of you, but it has to be done. And if it's not clean, the belt doesn't ride correctly. Alright, I'm happy with that. There's a tiny, tiny ridge. Maybe we'll hit it with a little bit of sandpaper just to take that off. There we go. Nice. See how it just removes just the tiniest little bit of material there, but and it actually polishes it. So, okay, that's that. Okay, so we just fed the wires through the back here. Don't forget to attach that that ground plug back to the bottom of the table. So you it's just a plug that you put on, so it grounds the table, and then we just drop it back in and pull your wires forward like this. 2 screws here to hold this plate. All right, we're going to clean our belt. It's got a little bit of some nasty crap on it. I thought it was a brand new belt, but the condition of it makes you think that it's brand new, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you. It's got some weird marks on it. And they're not coming off. There's definitely some residue on it. But it's nice and elastic. We're going to clean our platter, just the inside here. There we go. Get that off. And what side of the belt do we want to use here? One of them had some, maybe I did get that goo off. Yeah, looks like it cleaned off. Okay, so wrap your belt around. Okay, flip. Okay, so our belt is around the inner platter. Put your platter down. Grab your belt with your finger. Pull it off, and even better, grab it here. That's a pain in the butt to grab like that. And we're going to wrap that around our motor pulley, and we're going to see how our belt is riding. It already looks a little high to me. And we should plug it in, of course. It's auto returning. That's okay. It's good to know that it can do it. Test again. There we go. Oops. So I'm just going to stop it after it's spun a little bit, and we're going to see where we're at. Okay, we are definitely high. Oh, the belt's too high, so we need to bring our spindle, our motor pulley spindle up. Okay, so, and looks like a pretty good amount too. So we're just going to pull that. We're going to grab a very fine screwdriver, and we're just going to loosen the nut just a little bit. And bring it up and tighten her down. Okay, and do it again. What you want the belt riding halfway between the two segmented parts, between the 33 and the 45. You want the belt riding in the middle. And that looks better. Good. You don't want to hear any belt rubbing either. That looks right on. Oh yes, I'm very happy with that. Ouch. Very happy. Very happy. So let's check our speed. Strobe disc. I'm just going to throw a head shell on here because this arm flinging out all over the place is pissing me off. And speed is just the slightest bit fast. And we're talking super slight. I'm happy with that. Because the only way you can control the speed on these turntables is with the thickness of the belt. So if you buy an aftermarket belt, it may not be the same exact thickness that the Pioneer belt was. So that is great speed for this turntable. Okay. And that should really about do it. I am not going to get into the cartridge mounting. I've got videos on that. You guys know how to balance an arm. You know how to set the tracking or the anti-skating. There's really not a whole lot to this table other than what you just saw as far as servicing goes. I just want to show you one thing here. Kind of nice. Pioneer included a this is their stylus. They call it stylus position, but what it is, it's your overhang. And what you do is you bring your cartridge over, right, and then loosen your 2 screws and or 1 screw depending on what head shell you have, and then you move your cartridge back and forth until the needle lines up perfectly with this white line. That's a great little idea. You don't have to worry about. Can you even see that? You can't see that, can you? It's right here. So you basically bring your cartridge over, line it up. When the needle's sitting right on that line, you're good, and then you just drop it back down. And that's how you do your alignment on this table. And that's how you do a basically dead motor on this table. So it's just a matter of oil, guys. You got to keep on top of your lubrication. You have to oil your motors, okay? And once we're done here, I'm going to drop about 3 or 4 drops of oil into that little slot. I know it's clean, so now the oil will go down and it'll enter that kind of spongy, clothy area there, and it'll keep the top bearing lubricated for quite a bit. So that's it for this Pioneer. All right, so I want to thank you again for tuning in. Still have some more tables coming in. This is the first customer table I've done since the lockdown, and I've got several more lined up. Hope you decide to tune in and watch it, and I appreciate your time. Thanks, and have a great day.